All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to yet another edition of the Happy Hour Show. We have somebody familiar that I hung out with earlier this week. Motley Investor, how you doing over there?
Doing good, bro.
Good. And we have from Topcats Racing to start the show. We're gonna do a fast segment here. Cromwell and Jensen, gentlemen, we're just chatting in the green room. How you guys doing?
Yeah, really
All
good.
good.
Great.
Yeah, all good. All good.
Awesome, awesome. Well, all good. Also sounds like the season you guys have had, and I'm curious about what all went in that and what all lies ahead. But I mean, we'll get there when we get there. I guess first, can you just tell us just a little bit about the series, because over here in the States, we've had a quick education on NASCAR racing. The first in spring ish. Since we had the HEX sponsorship with JJ Yaley over here. So people, I guess, learned on the fly all about NASCAR. So can you tell us about, I guess, the GT Cup series, just, a quick overview of that, what it entails and how many races you guys do, and kind of the basics of that before we get into some more specifics.
Yeah.
Whoever wants it.
Yeah,
John Jensen, you take that one.
Yeah. Well, GT Cup obviously is one of the main GT championships in the UK. Cars such as Ferrari, Aston Martin, Bentley, Porsche, Ferrari, and obviously Lamborghinis, which we race. How many rounds do we have? We have seven rounds, 4 races in each round, which is made up of 2 25-minute sprint races where the drivers just drive on their own, and then we have 2 50-minute pit stop races as well, where we change drivers halfway through. So it's one of the sort of premier GT championships in the UK. So because of that, we get quite a bit of coverage. But the competition's pretty fierce, and there's some pretty big teams that compete in it as well. So it's a great championship for that sort of exposure, and for the cars, and obviously the HEX Lamborghinis this year. It's a really it's a fun championship, but it's very competitive. We had a Ferrari 458 Challenge team pushing us all year, and they just didn't let up. We never got a minute's peace until we got to the last round, which was I think we were so far ahead on the points. They pulled their entry, so I think they knew that we'd beat them, which was really cool because it meant the last race we could just enjoy it, just be there for the fun. So yeah, championships really all based on GT cars. Different classes. There's GT4, GT3, GTO, and we were in GTC with the Lamborghinis. So it's a different sort of class structure. But yeah, great championship, and one of the best in the UK at the moment. So yeah, for sure.
How do they structure the classes? How they determine what class you're in?
Yeah, classes normally are based on the year of the car and a power to weight ratio. So GTO, which is sort of the top class, is pretty unlimited. So you don't have to run any air restrictors or minimum weight. In GTC, we have to use challenge spec cars that are less than 5 years old. And then you have obviously GT3 for GT3 machinery. And in each of the classes, they have power to weight restrictions, and they can implement air restrictors on the engines if anyone is, sort of pulling ahead too far. And they can govern things like ride height, and putting extra ballast in the car as well to try and level the playing field. So there's a class for most cars, to be fair. Whether they're an X-Challenge car or a GT3 car, there's a class in there that you'll fit into. We were quite fortunate because with the Lamborghini Trofeo cars, I say fortunate, we selected them cars because they're beautiful to start with.
Yeah.
But they fitted the class structure really well, and we knew that we would be competitive with the power to weight ratio, which we were this year. So I think the way the organisers arrange the spec and the rules is to try and have an even field spread with the sort of more expensive machinery right at the front, but also they don't want the guys at the front just clearing off and leaving everyone else sort of laps behind. And that's when they use things like ballast and engine air restrictors and things like that to try and level the playing field. And I think the the Lamborghinis this year that we ran were just the perfect car at the perfect time to give us the success that we've had this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys why you ended up choosing the Lamborghinis, but more or less just because it was going to be competitive for the class you guys were racing in.
Yeah, I think the car itself, we did quite a bit of research. The car itself is actually potentially a lot quicker than a GT3 car. But what they've done is they've fitted, I think we're running 41 mil air restrictors. We had to run 70 odd kilos of ballast, I think, in one of them, additional weight. We raised the ride height from 40 to 75 mil because the aero was so good, or they made us do that. So we knew that the car had, we knew the car had huge potential. Right. It was just how much the restrictions that the championship would put on us would affect it. But the car was great. We absolutely made the right choice, and we intend to run them again next year, and they're still going to be right up there front running cars next year. So if we took all of the restrictions off that they give us, we would be quicker than the GT3s. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that's why we picked them. The research showed that they were going to be the most competitive cars, and we were absolutely spot on with that. So yeah.
So it's so appropriate for the crypto itself too, for HEX, for all the hexagonal design and the Lamborghini. And then I know a buddy of ours, Dustin Hawks, has the fastest quarter-mile Lamborghini or whatever, the 3,000 horsepower Lambo. So
that's a fantastic looking car. That is, isn't
that
it?
thing's a monster. Absolute monster. I think they're getting ready for another competition here shortly in a couple weeks out in Texas, I think.
Yeah. And all the HEX cars look absolutely beautiful. I mean, in all the series that I've seen, I think it's just, you can get so creative with that gradient of colors. And of course, you have to have a great design team and ideas behind it. But yeah, the colors have just lent itself perfectly to some of these car designs, all of them that I've seen so far. They're absolutely beautiful. Beautiful cars.
Yeah, I mean, we had our first televised race this year. The commentators said, without a doubt, they were the best two looking cars on the grid. The color scheme just works.
It's awesome.
And I think because of the Lamborghinis, they're so angular as well. The aero on the car, and just the way that the design sort of fades the colors through the car, and the design team that did it. We gave them we said to them, we want these cars to look awesome. We want them to stand out amongst, and they came back with a handful of designs, and it was the very first one. Both me and Cromwell said that's the one. That's literally it. The first one they did, it was just awesome. And then when we saw it on the car as well, it was like, yeah, wow, brilliant design.
That was the same way with the HEX NASCAR. Like the community all came together and threw all their inputs, different designs, and got a good group of core ideas. Yeah. And even Kool-Aid and a couple other people made their own cars and it looked great. But it's funny because we gave all that to the professional designers, and the first iteration, they pretty much nailed it. It was just yep, that's it. You guys crushed it. I see why you do this for a living.
Yeah.
It was almost exactly how I had pictured the main parts of it, and I was like, yes. I come from the sponsorship mind. I was like, man, you have to have the hex.com logo huge, or the website huge on the side because it's a 6-letter kind of thing, .com. And it's man, it lent itself perfectly, especially with this year's rules with all the added sponsorship room. I will ask this one just out of my own selfishness, since Motley and I have tossed this around about our NASCAR over here. Is there any, I guess, way to buy a 1/24th or 1/64th scale of these cars over in the UK? Or, because Hexkins love their collectibles. I'm just asking.
We do.
Yeah,
that's something we should do, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did look at for the merchandise next year, bringing out. It was I think it was die cast, but yeah, it was a replica basically of the race car. So very possible next year for sure. Yeah.
Nice. I guess my next question is, how did this sponsorship come about? I mean, we were talking in the green room, the NASCAR thing was kind of a last minute FOMO, literally. Getting things together. raising all that money within like 4 days was absolutely incredible with this community. But how did it work over there putting this together? I guess were there Hexicans involved? Who reached out to who? How did that happen?
It was a bit more of a slow burn, that one, I think, than what you guys had.
That's the way to do it.
A little
bit. Gents and I have been racing together for a long time, a good many years, and he started making Lamborghini noises to me, one thing and another, and I'm a day one Hexican, and I was just getting to think, well, if we're going to do this, it's just got to have hexagons on the car. I can't think of a reason why it shouldn't. And I got to talking with four other people in the UK Hex community here. Told them what we did and all the rest of it, and just floated the idea of a Hex branded car, and they were all in. Yes, got to do it. And to put that into context, this was back when Hex was sort of bursting its way through something like 35 cents and still going north of that, so there was a lovely warm and fuzzy feeling about everybody, and so anyway, I was I suppose the five of us very well naturally generally are not the sort of people to dox ourselves, quite the opposite, and I was tagged as the one who was going to have to do that. We were going to do this. Really, I'm a natural lurker, honest. And anyway, so we offered we offered the team some choices, basically, which included Hex. But if you want Hex rather than money or stable or something like this, we don't want you to sell it. We don't want you to market sell Hex. And they thought about it and said, yeah, okay, we'll take Hex and we'll stake it. And it was staked for something like, was it 1,500 days, I think, something like that. Yeah. And I think it was actually Hexican Girl who coined the phrase, no Hex was harmed in the running of these cars. So I suppose that's kind of like the initial sort of origin story, which began just about this time last year, as we were sort of laying plans for the year's worth of racing. And it was a kind of funny feeling because the UK was in going in and out of all these lockdowns. This week we're locked down, next week we're not, all this sort of rubbish. We'd done sort of 2/3 of a year's worth of racing, but it was behind closed gates. We were allowed to go racing, but no members of the public were allowed to go and watch. Yeah. And we just didn't know if people, A, would be allowed to come in the future, and B, could they be bothered to come, if they got used to sitting at home watching it on the TV or something, so in that respect, it was just a bit of a punt and a leap of faith that people would turn out,
and they did. And they did.
They definitely did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've had some lovely crowds this year at different races. We really have.
Well, I said going before the show, maybe 15 minutes, but I have a few more questions. You guys able to hang for a few minutes longer? Of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Before we get into the crypto, and I know most of our audience is like, give me, charts and moon talk and all that stuff, but
we'll get there.
So could you just, I guess these seasons are relatively short. I think is that 7 races? Is that correct?
Yep. Seven weekends with 4 races in each year.
Okay, so can you just take me through like a quick season recap as to how we started, how we ended up, and I guess we'll get the next year after that. Yeah,
we started obviously with the 2 Lamborghinis. Warren is the team boss, but also a racing driver. So I drive one of the cars with him, and then we had his wife, Charlotte Gilbert, in the second Lamborghini, and a young driver that we brought in called Charlotte Birch. So 2 Lamborghinis. We were out of the blocks winning races from round 1. I think we won 2 of the first races first weekend. We won more races this year than any other team as an individual effort.
Hell yeah.
I think we had more pole positions, and I think the only thing we didn't get was the most fastest laps, but it was pretty close. And yeah, at Snetterton, which was our last weekend, Snetterton in the UK, we, by proxy, really, we won the championship in the first race because I say our main competitor pulled out. They would have had to have won all 4 races, fastest laps and pole positions to have stopped us winning. They were never going to do that.
Pretty much had it locked in.
Yeah, and so we had a quite an easy ride on the last one. But yeah, it was sort of halfway through the first race of the Saturday. We knew that we were then champions. So yeah, 2022 GTC champions. A couple of lows in the year. I was battling with cancer early on in the year, so I was driving whilst going through chemotherapy, which was probably toughest thing I've ever had to do. All clear now, which is good news. So finished the treatment and been given the all clear. And we also had a huge accident at Silverstone with Warren being hospitalised and airlifted to hospital with broken collarbone, broken ribs, punctured lung. Where sadly one of the Lamborghinis was destroyed. So we've had some really big lows this year.
How's he now? He's recovering good?
He's recovering really well. Yeah, recovering really well. I think he had 10 broken ribs, broken collarbone, fractured vertebrae, broken pelvis, and a punctured lung. It was 100. I think he went 130 mile an hour to 0 in 2 meters. I think it was.
Wow.
So it was
lucky
intense.
To be alive. That's
absolutely,
crazy.
Really lucky. And he's a great friend of mine as well, and obviously Cornwell. So we're really pleased that he's doing well. He's planning to be back in the seat next year.
Oh, he's desperate to get.
Of course he is.
He really is. He's so
Tell driver's mentality, man.
Yeah.
I think he would have been back out this year if we'd let him. But he did attend the last 2 races. For
cool.
moral support and obviously being, team boss with his wife. So he was there, which was awesome. So absolutely fantastic year. We've completely smashed it this year. We've had so much exposure for the brand as well for HEX. And now we're, deep in plans for, doing something bigger and better, next year. So yeah, all good.
Well, speaking of next year, I guess we'll get to that. I have one more question, I guess, before we get to there. So since we're still on the season, before we look forward, can you tell us, what was the reaction to the car design, whether it be in the garage? I know we talked about the announcers mentioning it, and hey, that's a, awesome looking car. But what was the reaction, I guess, one, to the design, kind of just in the garage, or fans that you've interacted with, and the second part of that question is the sponsor feedback, or the people hey, what is this HEX kind of thing? And did people start to ask the teams about it? Did it drive curiosity to crypto? Any successful onboard stories, things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think we, the commentators mentioned how good the designs were at round 1. The team have had letters and emails just from the fans, just saying how awesome the cars look, and we're a very open team, so we always welcome people into the pit garages at weekends. We always, of all the teams in the pit lane, there's always more people around the HEX cars, around the Topcats team. We welcome them all in. There's always hundreds of people there, and I personally was new to crypto and certainly to HEX. It was Cromwell that got me into that. So, and I know that we've had an awful lot of people asking us, what's HEX, and I know, Cromwell, you've done quite a bit trackside on this as well, haven't you?
Absolutely. That sort of open doors policy, where so many teams do sort of box themselves away from everything. So we've always got these open doors. We love people to get up close to them and see everything in the flesh and everything that goes on, even when everything isn't going your way, the ups and downs of everything. But I think there's something special about that. We might see sort of a spectacular car like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Porsche going down the street, but not very often. But if you come here, you get really up close, see the cars, and engage with everybody working on them and the effort that goes to putting a crew together. And that seems to spawn a number of things. So we've become a almost like a social hub for the UK hexagon community. There will be meetups in different towns up and down the country, but a lot of them are sort of saying, well, you know what, the Topcats will be at our local circuit next month. Let's meet up there. And we get 30, 40 visiting hexagons from that sort of general area. And they're all doing their best to onboard as many people as they can in any sort of context. And at every available opportunity, we will be pushing the cars sort of out of the garage so that people can see them, and you're just engaging with people. Some people, complete no coiners, haven't got a clue, and you really have got to start from ground one. Others, and I've seen this quite a lot this year, they've dabbled with it, they're aware of it, they're probably aware of what BTC is, and they're just they don't seem to be aware of self-sovereignty and self-custody, and that they've just used everything on an exchange or a trading platform or something, and you've got to tease them out of that mindset and into the self-sovereignty world and this sort of thing, and that we've always got such a solid group of people around us that are more than happy to sort of help. You know, if there's somebody showing some sort of interest, absolutely great. It seems to really work well.
Yeah. One I just wanted to shout out and mention it before is Hexagon Girl, Randy. She's getting a lot of shout outs in the chat, and deservedly so, because I think a lot of the socials, you know, I see her in all these videos. She posts about it on I think Twitter, Insta. So it's like an example of like how something as cool as, you know, I find cool as racing can be, you know, put out there in a more fun way for more eyeballs to see it, even if you're not at the track. So
absolutely. And
it's
one
great
of the things
that
we've tried to do, we have this young man named Ollie Tyler who produces some different sorts of videos for us, some shorts and longs and different things, and to be able to have someone like Hexagon Girl, who she just seems to have this wonderful instinct of where the best place to put this is, you know, whatever it is that Ollie's produced. And if she decides it's Insta, then great, you know, Insta it is, or whatever it happens to be. And she just does such a fabulous job for us in the whole community, really.
Outstanding. So I guess, you know, after a successful 2022, what does 2023 have in store? I'm hoping, you know, more races maybe, or at least we're coming back. What's going on for 2023?
It's a big question.
Loaded.
We are, I think me and Cromwell have been busier than we've ever been since the season finished.
That's the truth.
Silly season.
It's silly season.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
It is, and I think the one thing we know is we're going to be doing it bigger and better than this year. That's the goal. We will be competing in GT Cup, but what we'd like to do is we'd potentially like to run 2 more cars, to run 4 cars, and potentially put in one of them cars in GTO, which is the top class. So, but obviously at the moment we're just establishing what budgets we've got, what financial support we've got, what cars, what drivers. Yeah, it's proper silly season. I think. We pretty much live together at the moment. Me and Cromwell trying to. But the thing is, time goes really quickly during the winter, because once you have a plan for the following season, we then have to present that to the infrastructure of Topcats Racing and Warren and Charlotte and the crew, and say, look, this is what we want to achieve next year. And then they're the guys that make that happen. They're the guys that get the cars prepared, and then we talk to the designers for the designs on the cars. And so we've really, we've probably got 4, maybe 6 weeks before we need to have a firm plan for 2023. That's why we call it silly season, because it's just, it's crazy at the moment. But we're going to be doing it bigger and better, and we're going to be doing it with HEX all over it again next year as well. So
if anybody wants to get involved, please hit us up. We'd be more than happy to hear from you.
Yeah.
How can they hit you up?
How can you hit us up? Well, you'll always find me on Telegram in t.me/hex_UK. That's probably the easiest way.
For sure.
Yeah, that's where you can find me personally. Anyway,
Okay.
at Topcats Racing on all the usual platforms.
Yeah, I think I put the Instagram in the description so people can
Yes.
get
And if
contacted.
Twitter's more your thing, I'm sure Hexican Girl can direct you their way as well.
She can indeed, or yes, just
or me, or Cabana.
Yeah, just drop any of the guys a line at Ollie Media as well if that's easier for you to find him, and we'd be more than happy to have a chat. You know, whatever anybody's got ideas, we love to hear what people think and about how to grow and build on what we've been trying to achieve and grow the community.
Nice. Well, I thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to come on here. I know, I guess it's pretty late over there, not too late, but still later in the evening. But before we go, we do have, I guess, a little something for. Is it a documentary that's coming out next month?
Yeah, it's coming out. I think near the end of November. So we've had Ollie Media with us all year. They've been producing all the sort of social media reels and footage from each round, but they've also been building a documentary because we thought it was important, especially for the amount of support we've had this year, to show everybody what goes on behind the scenes as well. So the documentary shows the racing, but it also shows what happens with the team throughout the year and all the personal stories of the drivers and the team, and and a big shout out to all the supporters that have been with us this year as well. So yeah, documentary in November.
Wow.
Excited. I've seen some edits and it looks really cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. So
and where's that going to be available for review, or how will people be able to watch it?
It's going to be pushed out on socials. So it'll be on all the sort of team socials, and
we may even ask you to host it as well. Cabana, what do you say?
I am so down for all Hexican content plus racing content.
Viewing party, let's go.
Done deal.
But let's not get out of here before we at least have this little trailer clip. So let's get this started and get us out of here. Boom.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Sir, no sound. No sound? You didn't click the box, you amateur. Come on. No one heard that. No sound. No one heard that. You failed miserably. I'm trying to message you in the private chat.
All right. The sound
redo. It looked great. The audio probably makes it even better.
There's no box. I have no box.
There's no audio. You didn't share audio.
No, there's no box to check.
Boo this man.
It's in its own window. I guess that's why. This is terrible.
Don't worry. I believe in the redemption arc. You got this, Cabana.
You got it.
It sounded so good in my headphones.
Yeah, you're the only one that heard it.
Congrats. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So it's like documentary trailer, but see, there's no audio to click. Like, that's the thing. Like, I can do it from the tab from the browser, but from the actual movie clip. All right. Anyway, keep talking, Motley. I'll figure this out.
Really? Okay, sure. Well, it looks great. I'm glad so we got front run by Ethereum 2.0, and now we're getting front run on our Highest Stakes documentary. I love it. No, but I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be cool. I was never big into racing, and then did that NASCAR thing. Like you said, it's a whole different experience when like the pits and the garages and the drivers and the mechanics and everyone's like open to you, and you can learn that whole environment. So it's going to be cool with you guys and the documentary crew going through all the steps, all the process, and not just the race, which, you know, everyone gets to see, but the behind the scenes stuff that we all enjoy.
Yeah, I think so. I think we, we do release sort of content after a race weekend, but it's always very polished. You know, it's always very cinematic, and this is
doesn't always go that way.
Yeah.
It never looks that.
Doesn't
clean.
always have sound. Doesn't always have the sound, obviously.
Well, it has sound, and it's glorious sound.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, so no, really, we're looking forward to it. And we've seen some edits, and I know the guys are busy doing it at the moment. So, it's going to be really cool. I think probably a couple of weeks. I think it'll be ready. So,
what I know you guys you were talking about trying to do 4 cars next season. What was I know Hexagon Girl posted a new car, and I don't even remember what model car it was. What's the new car that you guys have designed?
That was a Jexxa, because Warren's accident at Silverstone obviously damaged the car so bad that we couldn't get it fixed for the last 2 rounds. So we bought a Jexxa G55 GT car, just because we wanted to keep the 2-car dynamic going. So we drafted that in with a new driver, with Warren being sidelined, Sam Randon, that drove with Charlotte Birch. So yeah, Jexxa G55 team did a great job prepping the car. I think they had it for a week before we went to Donington, and 4 starts and 4 wins. Great car. Whether we keep that car next year, we may do. We may run the 2 Lambos, that Jexxa, and then bring in another car, GTO. To be confirmed. I mean, obviously we've got no end of drivers that want to drive for us at the moment, so drivers aren't an issue. It's just really about sort of establishing what our financial support will be and what budget we've got. To run the 4 cars in them classes would be pretty cool, because we'll get an even field spread. So especially for the coverage with HEX, obviously we'll have the GT4 car in the Jexxa. We'll have the Lamborghinis, which tend to run sort of at the front end, and then with the GTO car should be an absolute outright front running car. So give us a real good field spread. So ideally 4 cars, but we just don't know.
For the highest class, you said the highest class is GTO series, is the GTO class.
Yeah.
What model car are you eyeballing? Are you still eyeballing a Lambo for that, or is there a couple different contenders in that class?
Yeah, you can do it with the Lamborghini, because the GTO class is fairly unrestricted. You don't have to run ballast, you don't have to run ride height restrictions, you don't have to run air restrictors.
Oh, here we go. Cabana figured out his job now.
Do we have sound now?
We do.
Yes, you did it.
Okay,
Congrats.
let's continue, Motley.
We ask the chat if we have sound, because
yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we do now.
Okay.
But continue your point, and then we'll play it.
So we've got a lot of options with GTO. Whatever car we field, if we do that, the most important thing is that it's a front running car. We make the right choices, as we did with the Lamborghinis this year.
Yeah.
We want, if we have a GTO car and we have 3 or 4 options on chassis, then it needs to be the Red Bull of GT Cup. It needs to be the front running car. And that will be the most important thing, and it will look awesome anyway with the HEX design. So, it's going to be. We're going to do a launch early part of the year, as we did last year, at the Topcats headquarters in Aylesbury, and that's probably when we'll officially announce what cars and how many. Looking forward to it. It's going to be cool.
I still remember, like yesterday, I think it was probably Hexagon Girl that did the first reveal video of the Lambos for the first time. It was sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that footage was at the launch, I think that was at the launch.
Yeah, it was.
Looking forward to that again.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people there as well. We had a lot of people.
A lot of hexagons came, because the time we'd sort of said that we got this whole when Lambo meme going, particularly with Hexy Bastard and Hexagon Girl. They were teasing when Lambo and all this sort of thing. And there was only 3 people outside of the team that knew it was actually going to be 2 Lambos.
Yeah.
Because we just kept talked about Lambo in the singular all the while, and boom, we had this lovely big sort of Easter egg surprise for everyone.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah.
Forked the Hex Lambo. Good job.
The old copy pasta or whatever.
Too soon.
Too soon.
All right, let's see this trailer, sir.
All right, yeah, and brace your eardrums because I have no control over the sound. So.
Okay, I'll get ready.
Was it loud the last time I had?
It's pretty loud.
Okay. Well, the sound's awesome, so it's
better than no sound. So.
It is. So turn your monitors down just for like 30 seconds. So here we go. There we go.
There we go.
Man,
there
so
we
much
go.
better with sound.
All right, thank you. And thank you to the audience for bearing with that. And it was worth the wait. There you go. So
Awesome.
awesome.
I think I'm coming to the UK for some races next year.
Yeah, do it.
Worthy road trip.
Really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Cromwell and Jensen, thank you guys so much for coming by and giving us a taste of racing across the pond. And some winning racing and lots of stuff to be excited about. So I appreciate you guys. And
You're welcome.
We already went over where we can find you at Topcats Racing, pretty much on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, or via Hexagon Girl, because she's over with you guys and she's got the inside scoop on that. So check all those accounts out and let's do this. I'm excited for 2023. So thank you guys.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Then
there were two. What's going on, Motley?
Chilling, man. That was cool. That was cool. It's nice to have a racing team that crushes it.
Yeah, I know, right?
those guys are good.
Yeah,
and
I think
makes me want to go watch the races next year for sure.
Yeah, and they could, I guess they, maybe had some extra time to plan, perhaps look at other mistakes or or other instances that preceded them, and they turned out just to have an awesome team. And I know you mentioned Duhawks, Dustin, with the successes there, and
he's got a new one coming out. He's got a PulseX Lamborghini that is coming out that's supposed to break the record that his previous Lambo did. So stand by for that one.
Nice. Yeah. And
HEX Lambo's coming out like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And NASCAR, I will say, is a very hard game just to even get into. I mean, literally within 4 days, we pretty much signed up to have a car in the Daytona 500, which is pretty much unheard of. So more time, more planning next time. And I think, the results can only go up from there. So.
Is the NASCAR game out yet? Like, I haven't even looked to see if it's out. Like, I'm going to buy it, but do you know if it's actually out? I know like people have sent
I don't know, but
screenshots and everything.
DJ Cryptomatic would probably know if it's out or not.
Did he buy it or something already?
No, but he's all into the video game market for whatever reason. He was saying what consoles it's on and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. While we're talking about that game, I did have this up and ready here from our friend Abit, who may be on with us next week. Let's see here.
Yeah, we knew about the potential video game. We just didn't want to tell everyone initially in case it didn't happen.
Correct. Tell me if we have sound here.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yes, I'ma be a millionaire.
Quality's terrible, but that's all right.
Yeah, well.
I ain't again, Richard Hart. You got a set to win. We're a family. We are the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man. Just call us Hexagons. Look at that.
God, that car looks so good.
Oh, so good.
I know this is a video, actually.
Big K, Maddie.
think that was Vegas, right?
Yep.
Vegas Speedway. Yeah.
The 66. Yeah.
I got there late for that one. It's supposed to be a Supra. Oh well.
Boom. So there is that. Oh dear. Let's not do that.
Jeez.
All right. Just testing everybody, making sure everybody's awake.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All right. Thank you,
You good?
Kinex, for the laugh. No, Kinex is cracking me up over here. So
Is he in the green room or?
No, not yet, because I think
Okay.
he was going to try to be, but due to my I'm having a great day technologically.
I thought he might be like in the green room doing like a hexologist with a Shure mic or something, removing the crumbs.
It might be worse, actually. I think he's in the sauna, so we might have a Knipples sighting if we're not careful. So yeah, but anyway, what else is on the docket here? So, for those that, and speaking of Knipples,
no, I got out of the sauna.
Okay,
I didn't think anyone wanted to see it. Yeah, I didn't think anyone wanted to see that. So,
what's up, bud?
it's been almost exactly 2 years. I had to find it the other day. That stream that I was in the
Knipples stream,
the Knipples stream, 2 years ago.
We're like in a
almost
jacuzzi,
exactly today. No, it was Hot Springs out in Kurkowski Springs. Yeah,
Okay.
one of the largest hot springs in the world. And
I remember that. Unfortunately, I don't know why that's stuck in my head, but I remember it. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. That's when I was so adamantly called Knipples by Cabana here on the stream, and it's kind of stuck since.
It stick.
When you're first year, you get a lot of jokes that stick. So, that was one of them. I think Randy Hilarski and the horse. That's another one. I think there are like countless ones that.
Yes.
Dude, there's so many generations of Hexicans that don't even like know about those stories.
No.
Yeah.
The old days of the first days of the hangout. That stuff. Yeah. The stuff that went on in those shows. So that was good.
Yeah, but you know what's funny though? It took until this year to get people trying to ruin our streams coming on naked. So we didn't have any of that issue the first year. With all the stuff that we did, and we had a good time. And I'm surprised we didn't get shut down soon.
It looked like that was Motley on that one stream though.
It did not.
The shower stream.
It actually didn't. That one was bad, but it could have been much worse. It could have been what they did to Funding Jim's channel. That was way worse. Did you ever end up seeing that by chance?
I didn't get to see it. No, Franklin told me about it.
Yeah,
and
you're lucky.
Yeah, that's something you can't unsee.
I think they had Coffee, Gold Key, and DC on there, but like Coffee was just like, oh, I know this Hexican name, but like no camera, bro. It's so bad. And then like I message Gary. I'm like, yo, did you edit the stream or whatever? He's like, what? I was like, did they not tell you what popped up on your channel? He's like, no. I was like, okay, you need to go pull it down and edit that because it's your channel's
sure
not
that's not visible for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your YouTube will not be functioning after
not for long. Yeah.
No, it's gonna have to move to one of those specialty niche OnlyFans accounts.
yeah, definitely behind a paywall.
Yeah. Well, I did have here on the docket, and Jexxa, I know it's so early over down under, but he's supposed to join us here for some chat. Connects, man. Thanks for hopping by, and don't know how long you got, but I got some things to talk about here. First off, I just had on the list Motley, our chat with Billy Bambra on, I think it was, what was it, Tuesday? 2
days ago.
Yeah. So
3 days.
I just wanted to shout you out, Mr. Co-host on here, just for I just thought it was just an excellent conversation that you had with him. I was on the screen too, and input a little bit, but I also wanted to press all the buttons and make sure the show ran smoothly, and set up the conversation first and foremost. And I think it went absolutely wonderfully, especially from the comments, YouTube, Twitter, and I think that's how discourse should be had for skeptics. or with skeptics, I should say. So I think you just did a great job, and yeah, I was just reading feedback about it, and it was top of mind. I just wanted to bring that up. So anybody hasn't seen it, check it out. Yeah,
it takes all parties involved, right? Like it took him willing to come on. It took you reaching out, like all this, like this stuff never takes place if you don't reach out. We talk about it all the time. Reaching outside of our bubble, like that's a good thing. That like when you hit me up, it's like, hey, do you want to do the stream? I was like, what? Like you talked to this guy? You're like, yeah. You know, it was a shitty article. It wasn't very accurate. You could tell like there's very little research done into it. And you actually took the time to reach out to the guy, and props to him. He was actually willing to come on too. 99% of our haters or detractors want to do that. So that was awesome. And then he was willing to listen to me for a little bit and just kind of go through and nitpick his article, where you could tell he was just grabbing stuff off Twitter or grabbing stuff off articles that aren't accurate. And, you know,
miserable Mike.
Yeah. And or it's just like simply framing it from the wrong angle, and it's just not being very objective. So it was good to actually have that conversation. So I'm glad you actually put it together. I'm glad he was willing to come on, and I think it turned out pretty well. And then, you know,
respect for him for showing up.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
And people,
hopefully we get a good article out of it in the future.
Yeah. Somebody asked me, he's like, how did you get him as a guest? And I was just like, I asked politely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guy was like, okay. And I was like, okay. I was like, cool. And like you said, props to him, because usually, you know, these people ghost as soon as, you know,
they can ignore you, say no, or say yes. And he said yes. So again, he deserves his props for that, for sure.
And just wanted to start a little Cabana mail segment. We haven't had this in a long time. Just a few little notes.
Is that like Chippendales?
Or no, what? These are comments from viewers like you.
I think of it more of like Blue's Clues coming in the mail.
Daniel Gomez says, great stream, guys, and thank you, Billy, for being as open and honest as you were. Love the entire discussion, and it really shows what is possible when people are willing to hear each other out. Could not agree more. Noble Vices, if I wasn't a HEX or crypto investor already, watching this interview would have onboarded me. Motley and Cabana, I'm privileged to share this crypto journey with you. Thank you for all that you do. That was probably my favorite comment, because that's what we're here for. Like that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And this guy, who I've never heard of but might be on the show later, it's Jexxa guy. Great job, Motley and Cabana. That was the gold standard on how to handle publishers of FUD or incorrect info. I think Billy will be more considered when writing about any project now. So,
dude, shout out to Jexxa, because especially early on, I know he does the Aussie stream sometime, but like early on, I remember watching some of the stuff with Jexxa, and I know he also did a few streams with like detractors and naysayers, and he's very, very well spoken, articulated, and it was always cool. I love watching him kind of walk through just kind of the logical fallacies a lot of these haters run into, and like he would lead them down the path to where like they run into that wall where it doesn't make sense anymore, and they're just they're trying to turn around. It's like, see how this looks a little stupid now. And so shout out to Jexxa. I always admired his approach and how he handled conversations and debates with someone who doesn't necessarily agree with him. Very tactful and very well spoken and considerate.
Absolutely.
He's definitely one of the smartest of us. I love having him on the HEX.
Not that it's a high bar.
That's for sure.
I agree.
That's for sure. Yeah, especially over there on Discourse Syndicate. You know, we don't keep a very high bar over there. So when he shows up, we're like, you know what? We're glad to have you. Thanks for helping us pull this thing out of the gutter.
You let Unwrecked Pirate on a show, for crying out loud. So.
Yeah,
kidding. Love you, Unwrecked. Where's he been? I haven't seen him in a while.
He is living his best life as a gypsy.
Gigolo?
As a gypsy. As a gypsy.
Australian gypsy for sure.
Yes, he sure is.
I see certain posts in certain Telegram groups, and I don't know what to think, but it's unread.
Well,
so
I don't know how you even understand. Even when he types, you can't understand him. I'm like, I don't even know what you're writing. But he's like he's the Brad Pitt in Snatch from Down Under. Like that's literally like that's
the
him.
voice. That's
it. That is him. That is him.
A pikey.
Yeah, he's a pikey.
Yeah, Australian pikey.
I think they call them bogans down there in Australia.
Bogans.
But yeah.
That's such a great movie. Anybody who hasn't seen Snatch, by the way, and Lock, Stock, and
yeah.
Two Smoking Barrels, also just great characters in that.
Those Guy Ritchie films are good films.
Yes, absolutely. What else do we have here? Oh, this guy. Wave to me if you're ready, sir. All right.
Hey,
there he is.
It didn't quite go the way I planned this morning.
You're right there, sir.
Better late than never.
Man, I thought I had the time zone all buttoned up. Jeez, it gets every time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are 1 hour in. So, yep, it was close. That's why I try to get in DMs now for people either overseas or another, hemisphere. I try to calculate and be like, okay, 23 hours from now, and then send. And then, because Eastern time,
well,
I guess.
I calculated it from your last show, and I don't know. Geez, I must have just stuffed up somehow.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And then we have like daylight savings time coming up soon, like next week or something like that, maybe. So that'll screw things up yet again.
Great.
So how you doing, man?
Good guys. Yeah, good to be on with you guys again. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, we were just talking about kind of reminiscing on old memories, stuff that some of the newer hexagons probably haven't even heard of.
Yeah,
jokes.
I just flipped on the stream and I heard you talking about that. Must have been an interview I'd done a while back with I think that was the Buckethead guy.
The Buckethead, yeah.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Still under the bucket.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you guys have covered already. You sat a little bit on your run sheet there, but I did want to give you guys a big shout out for the job you done with Billy the other day. That was a cracker.
Appreciate it.
It was a really good way to bring someone in that, whether or not he was being truthful in the way he was reporting or whether he just hadn't researched enough. It was a good way just to bring someone in and without being confrontational, but just holding them to account, which I don't think a lot of these journalists in this space ever get done to them. They just report what they want and there's no ramifications or there's no one holding them
accountable
to
it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's an issue you run into with media in general these days, especially like old form, like news, like hardly anyone watches that anymore. Or like just these like you said, these journalists and these articles, because now it's just what outrageous clickbait title can you get, and they just get the click, and that's it. That's all they care about. You don't have to. No one's going to vet you if your article is accurate or not. It's just like, how outrageous can the title be? Can you get enough clicks on it? And it seems to be all they care about these days. Very few journalists seem to actually take the time, because it takes time. Like, could you imagine someone actually researching HEX and deep diving into it to do a thorough breakdown like that? It would have taken out tons of man hours to get into the weeds of all that stuff.
I wish we had more Taylor Kennedys out there, quite honestly. Because that's exactly what he did.
Yeah. Yep. I get on him every now and then and start writing more articles. But it's on us to get them spread out there too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well,
I
like
guess
it's
like I was gonna say it's almost like systematic or systemic, whatever you want to call it, in journalism as a whole. So if it's not the reporters, then it's the level above them. And I just saw an example of this today with this Paul Pelosi. Who knows what happened with that? But anyway, the reporter was at the press conference caught on a live mic, and there are facts about this alleged person who did this act. I'm not going to get into it or whatever, but he's like, so this is like the hempist aficionado that's also a nudist, and he's on the phone with his editor, and he's like, can I mention that? And the editor's like, no, what? And it's like, you're editing like out key information, or these editors are, not letting their reporters report on actual stuff that they're given, and it's already on the internet. But they're trying to control a narrative or push a narrative and control a story, and it's disgusting. And that's what's wrong with journalism nowadays.
Yeah. I think you're right. That's what's highlighted the biggest thing. Like say it's systemic, and it's put us in a position, put everyone in a position, or should put everyone in a position now where you've just got to question everything. Like, don't just take it on face value what's been posted in the media, because Jesus, if this last couple of years hasn't shown you that it's all smoke and mirrors, I don't know what will.
That you will give up your freedoms.
Yeah.
the perceived temporary safety. I won't go too far into that because I know.
Yeah.
It's still
I'll
a
get
hot
on a
topic.
rant.
Man,
Is there any Hexkin streamer I don't like? I'll go on their stream and talk about it. Love all you guys. Love all you guys.
So on that note, do you think Elon Musk buying Twitter is going to have an impact?
It can't get worse.
We'll see. I've already seen the rumor mill going around that he's bringing back Trump's account Monday, so we'll see if that's
that will be the tester.
He brought in like hit the first day that he walked into headquarters. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of him just bringing in a sink. He was saying it's like his emotional support sink or something. The dude's just like a billionaire troll. It's ridiculous. He's like, I guess I'm buying Twitter for $50-something billion. Might as well troll. Yeah.
The ultimate troll.
Good time.
I'm excited though, because I think he'll push crypto Twitter more. The downside is I'm seeing him working with like BSC and things right now, and I'm like, man, this is not a good thing for us. Not a good look for the rest of us.
I mean, maybe it offers also an opportunity for education. Like he can see like the bot problem, especially with crypto and stuff like that. And I saw people just typing MetaMask into tweets just to see if they would, throw on the bots or whatever. So there's that. The funniest thing I saw was, I think it was just like, I don't know, within the past hour, Facebook would like to also talk to Elon about the information or misinformation and how he's going to monitor that now. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like y'all are the last people that need to get in that guy's head. But anyway, they are scrambling. Like I'm talking about a certain group of elites and blue check marks that, have controlled the room basically for years now. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. About 10 days before an election, it's hilarious. So anyway,
that's what happens when you let political parties run these borderline run these social media platforms. Like you silence the other side's voice. Like it's a slippery slope to operate.
And he's not even like way right of center. He's just let people have voices.
It's so technocracy. I mean, that's really what it is. You got big tech companies that think they know better. So they're going to drive the narrative, and the rest of you guys get ghosted. You don't get an online persona. You do not exist on the internet anymore.
Yeah. So he's got some big balls to get out there and do it. He's putting himself out there, but I guess he's got the FU money to stand up and have a go.
Yeah.
If he can't do it, no one can.
Yeah, I see him pretty hands-on for, I guess, just to right the ship there, at least as far as he can see it. And then he's already said, like, he's, I guess, forming some sort, I forget the name of the committee, but it's pretty much like content moderation or something that probably called that to appease those, from all sides maybe. But I have a feeling it's not going to be anything what it was, because what it was is not why he bought the company, or at least why he says he bought the company. So
Runeskis has a good point here. He says the sync was a let that sink in moment, he said. So
yes, like that was the tweet too, I think, was it? Let that sink in. So all right. Well, let's get some more fun in the room talking about all this other
real quick. I just want to shout out one last time before we get on to fun stuff, the serious stuff. Sam Bankman-Fried and Eric Voorhees are arguing back and forth right now why the FTX policy is actually a bad idea for regulation in crypto. They're on the Bankless channel. So after you guys get done watching this, feel free to go take a look at that and fill your guys' head with the nonsense that is the agenda from the kingmakers that have been put on Sam Bankman-Fried's table.
Can you grab the link for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I think Jexxa, you might know more than I on this, but I think if I heard it right, like BitBoy, I guess he's putting together legislation or something like that, and his big gripe is that he was in talks with Sam Bankman-Fried's team, and then Sam Bankman-Fried, his team took parts of what BitBoy was talking about, but then manipulated it to kind of more in his favor, in FTX's favor, or what have you, and pretty much just cherry picked it. And then BitBoy was like, "What?" And then they ghosted him, and then went on their way with whatever they're trying to write up.
Yeah. So they're pretty much you bang on. They were pretty much just like saying, yeah, we'll get back to you. And in the meantime, while they were delaying working with BitBoy, they were going around the back door and introducing their policy without him even knowing.
Yeah, they literally took what he and his team had written, and then they made it more centralized exchange friendly.
Yeah. So,
of course they did.
Yeah, there's a lot of dollars on the line for those guys. So, and man, what we've seen happen this cycle, how aggressive Sam has been, or Alameda has been with trying to acquire anyone that's in a sniff of danger. So, your Celsius, your Voyager,
any distressed third party has been he's been looking at acquiring.
He's been there to save the day.
You guys know they're in due diligence to buy Coinbase, right?
No, I did not.
They are in due diligence.
Is that just rumor or?
They're in due diligence. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but
where'd you hear that from?
Oh yeah, FTX, right?
Yeah, FTX.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep.
I've heard it from several sources. Let me see if I can give you one that's not just an internet troll, like
reputable.
with someone who wrote
not Mike Alfred giving us
how it's a scam. Yeah.
Surely Billy's got a good one up there.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was Billy. I read Billy.
Are reliable sources.
The news with miserable Mike.
Yeah.
While he looks for that, we were talking about BitBoy. So a little fun here with some, we'll just call it, what will we call it? Musical tweets. That's what we'll call it. How's that? So how about some of this?
BitBoy.
Yeah.
Trying to tell you this is about money from me. I'm here fighting for all the money. Devil, douchebag, these freaking glasses on. This is about money for me. It's me. I'm here fighting for all the money. Fuck, I don't. I'm the one who does. I'm the one who does.
Please don't sue me, BitBoy, like you sue that other guy. I know I'm no way down, but this is just a paradise. When you come for Bankless and RSA, my guy, that's when I respond with a hearty remix battle cry.
Ryan, Sean, Adams. I don't know who the F you are. Ryan, Sean, Adams. I don't know who the F you are. Ryan, Sean, Adams. I don't know who the F you are. Ryan, Sean, Adams.
So he's yelling in my ear because I didn't cut it off there. But yeah, there that was one gem. There actually have been quite a few of these across the Twitter sphere. Here's another one, and I think pretty much the Hexagon community is familiar with one. We'll get that out here in a second, but here's another one.
It's me. I'm the one out here putting the work in behind the scenes, trying to save crypto, while these devils, Sam Bankman-Fried, Brian Armstrong, they're trying to permanently ruin it. This is not about money for me. I hope you guys understand this. I'm here fighting for you. It's me. This douchebag is out here trying to tell you that only the suits know what to do. Only the suits. Only the people who have all the money. They're the ones who can determine what happens. No, our bill is for the people. And you're going to find this out. I don't represent the people. The fuck I don't. Fuck I don't. Fuck I don't. The fuck I don't. Fuck I don't. Fuck I don't. Fuck I don't.
Oh boy. Yeah, we saved the best for last, so I think everybody knows where this is going.
The Richard Hart edition.
Oh yeah.
Chart here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylons as a hater. Cheers. Prada
cheers. All right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Okay.
We gotta get our boy Richard on a dietitian. He's looking big.
I actually like his beard better. I think.
Yes.
I don't know why.
So I got to give credit to Captain RG3 on this. He said, he said, RH, you need to grow back that beard. Us old guys, it doesn't bode well with round faces. We look like lesbians. You put your beard back on. So.
It's like dye the beard, bro. If you don't want the old gray beard, like just dye that shit. Like
exactly,
it protects your neck.
White dyes very well. So
someone like zoomed in and like that's a 3x. It was like 3 chins on Richard. I'm like, oh god.
Well, Motley, almost a year ago, you were there. He was fit, man. He was looking good at the 731 gathering.
Yeah, he was a lot better shape. But I think he's just I think he's just been focused on other things. So when you're traveling, all that stuff, your routine and workout and all that stuff goes to the wayside.
Especially diet. Like it's at least I can say that personally. Like my diet goes out the window. You can. I mean,
you saw him in Miami. Like he found his like favorite sub shop. He's just like, yeah. Oh god, I miss these. It's like better than sex. Fuck it. He's like, yeah, that's not good for him.
Oh man.
Did you see who commented on the tweet from that little bubble video?
CZ.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So obviously CZ was, if you didn't pick it up, CZ was in the background of the
I thought
video there.
And then Richard's reply was great.
Yeah, I was about to say Richard's reply was pretty clever. It's like, oh, I thought this was just another bot.
Yeah. So it was good that it was good that he was watching that, and the fact that he commented means he's not ghosting. So that's hopefully there's a little bit of
like,
he sees stuff.
I see you, Richard. I see you. He's like, I do know you're on page 3. I do.
He's probably probably also seen the Coin Market Crap suit as well, but can't find him.
I think what he's seen is he's seen the 2 proof of work forks generating a lot of revenue for some exchanges, and he's going to be getting a lot of tokens on another one coming up. So I think that's what they're probably seeing is the dollars that can be made from the trading volume.
100%. Yes, we do have tasty food here in America. Because I went to the UK, and it's no wonder most of you guys are skinny over there. Because I won't eat half that shit you guys do in the restaurant. So.
UK guys were on the first half hour of the show, so we'll have to take that up at a later date. But, UK people in the chat, discussion. Defend your food or make fun of yourselves. Go for it. So,
there you go.
What else do we have? So, did want to bring this up, but bring it back, I guess, to more crypto-related matters. So, I think this next tweet was pretty interesting. I think a lot of these were, I don't know, to apply absolute, say this was the cause of sell-offs or something like that is, might be a little out there, but Hexpulsian Crypto, I'll just drop this screenshot here. Community can decide what they want to make of it. I'm taking a break from the community as my work is done. Other than the occasional hexologist crypto coffee. Hey, Cabana Crypto. I didn't pull this tweet up for that.
Hangout.
Or effing hangout streams. That's it for me. Enjoy the ride. So that aside, so what this was he went through this chart of HEX and pretty much launch of crap tokens, unwise stuff, the pump cycle basically, the pulse sacrifice, we all remember that, and the huge pump that we had after that. Then Kazillion pulse project sacrifices. He calls liquid loans a large culprit. Pulse X sacrifice began right down here on this second high. We had that huge pump over 30. I do remember that as that happened, actually. Hedron launched in this little dip right here, or these are roundabout. I don't think these arrows are exact. We had Maxi, and then we went down from there, which doesn't make sense at all to me because you're locking up Maxi, and then the ICASA launch there, and then it comes over here. So anyway, I don't think a lot.
We're in a bear market.
Yes, I don't think a lot of this
man.
Jive.
That's not rocket science.
That's cherry picking to the max doing that. I know because I know for a fact that because I was involved with the liquid loan stuff, that didn't launch until the tail end of PulseX.
Yeah, I was going to say that the timeline didn't seem right on that.
Yeah. So all those.
And what was the sacrifice period? Was that like 2 weeks?
No, I think it was closer to a month, but it was done literally in the last week of PulseX sacrifice, is my understanding from
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So it was way down the track. So and I think that was one of the first in the community. So to blame that dip on, I think that dip is based on the massive run up we had. You don't go up 10,000x and not have
someone taking profits.
Yeah. That's just markets, man. So, yeah, I think everyone's just gotten a little bit like bear markets are hard. Like, they're frustrating. You want to know why everyone keeps bloody selling the price down, and
you start reaching a little bit.
Like this. What about this comment from Marco in the chat? Do you buy or sell this? Imagine if we didn't have all that. I'm guessing he's referring to all these arrows. We would be over $1, but miss out on amazing gains from everything else. Worth it. So he kind of highlights both sides there. I guess my main question: do you think we'd be over $1 if it wasn't for all this stuff? I don't, because I just think bear market. But
like you're going into the wind. Like the rest of the market they're all falling the same. Like you can't look at the HEX chart in isolation. And although we all thought it was going to survive better in a bear market, we thought the lockups would.
I think it has. I still think it has.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it ran up pretty hard. So, but you put any other chart on there today, and I'm pretty sure they all look very similar.
Yeah, they do look very similar. And I think the important point is coming out of this is where the sweet spot is going to be for Hexkins, in my opinion, because I think we will outperform once again. But I see like us against the crypto market as Ethereum is against Bitcoin. So the dips are going to be worse, but in the long term, the pumps will outpace the pumps of Bitcoin. So I think our dips are harsh, but I think we're gonna outpump when we do start moving back up. So
I think we've all we forgot the reason why you got into HEX, and it was about delayed gratification. It wasn't about a 1 or 2 year cycle. It was about a 5, 10, 15 year cycle. So
and these are years you're talking. So it's not months or anything like that. It's years stacked on top of years. So like 3 cycles could be close to a 5, 5, 5, 5 kind of thing, depending upon the length of the cycle.
Yeah, and that like we almost did like a self-fulfilling prophecy too. Like it happened to coincide with the macro just turning to shit as well. But like that 10,000 bar we set for ourselves, like that was almost like we kissed it and we're like, all right, down we go from here. Like
we made it.
We got it. And then it's like, and down we go.
Yeah.
So we kind of set that.
Maybe should have reset our bar a little higher.
Guys, 15,000, 20,000.
15,000x. That's where we're at. Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. I had a note.
PulseChain, right? PulseChain, Motley.
Yeah.
PulseChain. 15,000x.
Yeah. PulseChain's gonna be fun. Whenever we get it.
Wanted to talk a little Hedron real quick. Motley, you had, I guess, retweeted a ICOSA HSI website. Not available yet, but forthcoming. What do you know about this thing? And it looks like the screenshots I saw look pretty cool.
Yeah, Dev Huey on Twitter. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but he's putting out a lot of cool statistics on Hedron and ICOSA and that whole ecosystem. And looks like he's building some sort of HSI auction platform kind of website or viewer. I honestly don't know. I haven't looked too much into it, but evidently it's still in testing, so he hasn't released it publicly. And
It says it's dropping at 9 p.m. UTC. So
I know Sloth and Java, they're more into the Hedron Alex ecosystem. Like I know Alex is actually
so maybe it just went up. Chat saying
working
it's
on
up.
a platform as well. Okay, there you go.
Link us, chat.
Dev Huey has it up. Okay, there you go. So it must have just come out, so you guys
Probably
can go
like
check it out.
20 some minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah, one of you guys can send it to us and we'll post it in the chat.
Well, cool. J-Man asks, what happened to Gerardo from Mintra? I haven't seen him in a little bit. I think he was at PulseCon there, right?
Yeah, I believe he was.
So, I haven't seen.
Yeah,
has he
that's
done
right.
any streams lately?
I haven't seen him in a
To
minute.
be honest, I
On
haven't,
TA?
yeah, I haven't
We
seen
need
him
your
for
TA
a
in the bear market, dudes.
while.
That's when we need
Jenkins
it the
and
most.
all y'all.
Yeah.
Wasabi's out, dodging sharks and off the California coast, and Jenkins is probably doing yoga. Where's your charts in the bear market, man? Axis is out here killing it. Let's go. Let's go.
So it looks like the website is hexmodel.com.
Hex model.
Yep. And I got that off his Twitter, but if I'm wrong, you can correct
Sounds like
me,
a
chat.
dangerous site. I'm not gonna Google that.
Hey, coming soon. Yeah, so it's
Hexy
not quite.
Quinn wants to know what you did with Vince.
Vince is doing Vince things.
That's a pretty cool site, though. See a bit of data on that.
Yeah, that'll be fun to pick through before the auctions start coming up.
And those auctions are what, a little over 2 weeks away?
November 13th, I believe, is the start date, more or less.
So just a couple show notes. I am traveling next Friday, so we're going to do the show, I think, Thursday. And the week after that, 11/11, so it's easy to remember, we have Crypto Sloth and Cryptographics booked right before the mega Hedron event unfolds. So
is that what you're calling it? Mega Hedron?
I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Name it something, chat, or Motley, whatever. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of information to sift through there.
Briz. Vince and Jenna XRP are busy on Fridays.
That's what happened to Vince.
Sorry, Quinn. Jenna's taking him.
Yes.
Dang it. Sorry.
Get a line. Take a number.
11/11, Danny boy. Yes, that's the mega Hedron stream or whatever you want to say.
I reckon these HSI auctions are going to test the old gas limits on Ethereum. I think there's a lot of button pushing you got to do if you're minting Hedron, and then you're bidding on auctions, and it's just be prepared for that. You might want to have a little bit of ether up your sleeve if you're going to be doing this.
Yep.
Don't worry, Jack got us prepared for that.
Yeah.
We're well practiced.
We've had our expectations realigned.
It was a training exercise. Oh man. So
I'm super bullish on Poly, but quite honestly, the way I'm playing it is like, thanks for pumping my Hedron. I'm just gonna hold on to my Hedron. Thanks for all of you guys putting it into Poly.
I think I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I like I forgot who was mentioning it, but like a lot of people are looking to just snipe the decent sized stakes that have a 10x multiplier, which I like that aspect as well, just to have you're essentially buying a Hedron printer as well with the HEX. So I like that idea. So I might be looking out for those, but those are probably going to be the most, I would imagine, the most bid on. Any ones that are worthwhile, that is. But I mean, it's going to be a little bit of both, right? Like it's going to pump Hedron. It's going to do a lot for the ecosystem as far as all the interest and everything it earns from the different staking pools. It's going to be very good.
Java.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing at.
I can't wait to see the state of Crypto Kool-Aid after seeing him stay up for 14 days straight.
That's going to be a Kool-Aid on a whole nother level. We'll let him go on Connects the stream.
Yeah, right. Right. We might have to take our channel down. Preemptively just take it down before YouTube does.
Twitching.
Boy. So there you go. Jexxa, you mentioned minting Hedron, and we've talked about this last week briefly, but since you and Kinetics are here, I think Motley's the only one that's here from last week. We were talking about, I think Randy Hilarski had a tweet out about don't be like, jokingly, don't be like Randy and forget minting your Hedron, when your stakes end. I guess I'll start with you, Jexxa. Do you have any tips on how you remember personally? I don't think I shared mine last week, so I'll share mine, after you guys, but do you have one?
Yeah, to be honest, I try and use the ICOSA front end for controlling my stakes now.
Yeah. I do too.
Okay. Somebody said that last week, I think.
Yeah, the only thing I've found is the minting function on that app or that dApp is not brilliant. Like there's long waits and you can do one at a time. You can either go mint all or one at a time, and so it's not the best for minting them. So sometimes if I need to do en masse minting, I'll go across to the old app, which seems to work a little bit better. But yeah, we've all blown up a decent amount of Hedron at some point in time by just forgetting in the earlier days.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's even worse because if you really want, you can do it on 2 other chains as well. So
yep,
there's a fair bit to
keep you busy. Push a lot more buttons when it's time to end stake nowadays. That's for sure.
That's another thing I was like reminding people to be careful on. If you're extracting value from Ethereum Fair or W, like make sure you're on the right chain when you're interacting on the ICOSA front end, because God forbid you start nuking stakes on the main chain.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be rough.
So just on that note, I have a whole different profile set up for proof of work. So in my Chrome, I've got a proof of work profile.
So it just stays there.
And it's bright red screen color and everything. So I know.
Alert. You are about to do this.
Haven't even connected to the other chains on my main.
That's smart. That's actually a good way to kind of separate them.
Yeah. I like the ICOSA site because I use that as well. Just as like a fail-safe, I just schedule an email to myself because I always
I have it in my Google Calendar, and I don't even have end stake for HEX. I have it put in as mint Hedron, and
that's mine.
That I need also end stake after.
Say I have like a stake, if it comes due tonight, then I'll get an email like an hour from now, and it'll be like, hey, don't forget. And then it'll be like, okay, cool, see that, and then I'll immediately forward that, look up my next HEX end stake date, plug that date in, and I'll get that email, whenever that date is, just as a failsafe in case, I want it like.
I told you to pull a tab, just write it on a piece of paper and then tape it to your computer. Your mint your Hedron.
That's the old school way of doing it. Yeah. I mean, if you're just used to looking at something every day, then my fear would be you just gloss over it. At least it's like, oh, new email, what is this, like minutes before, and then or a half hour before, and I'm used to checking my email on the go, and either if I'm not at my desk anyway. So well, cool. The ICOSA app is or dApp, if you will, is the I guess consensus
it's
choice.
The primary, absolutely.
There are still a few features missing, like hovering over.
Staking your native HEX, there's no calendar, right?
Yeah,
it's just like you input the days. So
there's a few things like that are or when you've got the end time of your stake, you can't hover over it and see the actual date, and just little niceties like that, which we got built up over time on.
And I have too many stakes, so like it freezes up his site. Like I like tried messaging him. It's like, I made too many stakes, and you're like, all your action buttons just like gray out for me, and they never come back. He's like, oh, it's probably an issue with ETHW or ETHFair. It's like, no, it's on all the chains. Like, I have too many stakes.
It's a good problem to have. Hey,
it's not the worst.
I take that problem. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna get going. I'll see all of you guys at the FN Hangout. Hopefully you guys will show up. If you're not scared, if you're not sissies. These Sallies can show
up. Right. You gotta bring your knipples, bro.
Make sure to I'll bring my knipples if you promise to bring your purse. Okay, so we'll see you guys later.
All right,
we'll talk soon.
Later, bro.
Head connects on a while, so that was good. What else we have here? Since yeah, we can go back and lay all these topics on Jexxa and just,
Yeah, I love that you've got a run sheet, man. It's good. Like ours just turns into a free for all every Tuesday night on the.
It might be a cultural thing too, because I know a lot of people in the chat are like, they're talking over each other. They're talking over each other. I'm like, well, I think that's kind of how it rolls there, That, and you have delays too sometimes as well.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I think that's just how you get heard in Australia.
There's
another person. Just, I guess, let's talk overall crypto and markets. I'll just flat out ask it, and I'll start with Motley. Is the bottom in? I'll first ask you, like, overall stock market / Bitcoin, and then for HEX, as I pull up a chart of the S&P 500.
I don't know, Cabana. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm good either way. Down or up, I'm ready for capitalize on either or, just like last time.
It's not what I asked, Motley. All right,
I don't care.
Gun to Motley's head. Do we hit a new low?
If I had to say one way or the other, I'd say there's more of a chance of us still going lower. If I had to bet one way or the other.
I thank you for that take. Jexxa, what say you?
Yeah, I sit in the other camp a little bit.
Really?
So, yeah.
You're with
Steph.
I think,
yeah, I just, from a macro perspective, I don't know that the US can do much more in terms of moving rates and things like that without breaking other economies. And you're seeing those other economies push back now, like Japan's fighting back. UK had to do a lot of buying of bonds and things like that. So I just don't know how much more things can be pushed before the ramifications is too much and it's global. So I think we're seeing those few cracks sort of showing through. But you look at if you look at the Bitcoin chart and look at all the indicators, it tends to suggest that we're in a bottom. And I think that only reason people are saying we aren't is because there's overlying macro stuff where there's a lot of uncertainty and you don't know what's going on. So, which then leads to it's different this time conversation. But is it? Like we always say that. And what we haven't seen is how crypto responds. Like once we knew we were coming up to a bear market. The cycle was playing out as it normally did. We've gone into a bear market. Is it going to still hold true to the halving events and follow that 4-year cycle? And that's probably where we're at that decision point now as to do we do that? But yeah, that chart there shows like typically like we're below where we'd normally go to in terms of a lot of the moving averages. So the chart says we're in a bottom, but yeah, who knows, mate?
Everyone in the markets want to be bullish too, though. But like that's the problem. Just even this last little like pathetic rally, everyone's just like super bullish. Like the herd instantly flipped. Like they want to go long. So it's just like now I'm bearish again because everyone else is bullish. So it's just like
I don't get me wrong. I don't think we may have a bit of a rally now. Like we've seen that the last few days, and that may take a breath and then push a little higher. But that doesn't mean we're not coming back down. Like we can still come back down and then trail out for another year going sideways.
So I'm not saying that be prepared on both sides.
That's right.
Philosophy. This is not a bad entry point to whatever you want to invest in, and then if you have to go down another 50%, so be it. But it's better than missing the potential bottom altogether. So
yeah.
I think I said that last week or 2 weeks ago. Put yourself in a win-win situation. So I mean, you are literally. I mean, you could see it right here on this chart, clear as day. You are at the old cycle highs in Bitcoin. We've come down from 69K down to 20K. How greedy are you going to get on the long side? If you are bidding at 11K and that hits for you all in, good for you, and you are awesome, and you're going to make more money than most people. But if it doesn't get there, then
you're just
the
out.
train. Yeah, the train leaves the station, and you're watching it, go away with no way to catch up, unless you FOMO. So
the thing I you've got to keep a bit of an ear out as well. So when we were up at the all-time highs and we got up to we retested all-time highs, everyone was like, yeah, we're going higher. This is it. We're taking off. And now we're on the reverse of that, where it's, oh no, it's 11K and pray, and there's a big camp that are saying, no, we're still got a long way to go. It's we're going to go down more. So people always, I guess, overextend to the main direction you've been following. So maybe we're seeing a bit of that as well, where you've always got the people that come out and say we're going to go lower, and you never get there. We had it last cycle as well. Tone Vase was saying we're going to 1K or something like that. It never happened.
It's just when the greed outweighs the fear.
Yeah.
And I liken that to people saying, HEX going to a penny. I mean, could it get there? Sure. Do I think it's going to get there? No, I really think it's a lot like the Bitcoin talk going from 3K, which is that first bottom you see circled there in 2019, down to 1K, which never happened. 3K was pretty much the bottom and just ground along for months. And then we finally came out of it. HEX, we ground along 3 cents for a while now. I'm not saying the bottom is in for HEX, but I think it'd be pretty difficult to get back down to, a penny, especially, we've seen Godwell step up within the past week with some pretty big buys, maybe just marking some territory. He's not like buying all the way up, but if prices come down.
But again, it's like hedging too, right? Like this was a good entry point. Godwell came in at 10 cents and we still ended up down here. So.
Yep. And even Godwell DCAs. So let that be a lesson. There you go. I just wanted to bring back up that S&P chart real quick, because this does affect the overall crypto markets, not totally directly, but kind of in a way. So this long channel actually goes way, 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 way back to 2008, and then we kind of blew out of it here right like 2021, and then we kind of came back, and now we're like right in the middle. This line here, the one that it bounced right off of, is the 200 week there. So we're kind of like in the middle of that, and the 40, which is coming down. So maybe
which way do we go?
Some sort of resolution by what is this, like May? I'm banking on, because I kind of just projected the 200 out maybe this far. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but this is the clear upper resistance line here. So
March, May seems like a good time for a PulseChain launch too.
So, does it?
To me, it does.
Okay.
So maybe we'll have our bottom answer by then too.
I'd like December, but
I would like tomorrow.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And a lot of it depends upon the Fed. I don't think the bottom is in, personally, just because too many people are saying the Fed is going to pivot out of hope rather than data. I think the Fed is still relying on data. They haven't seen enough, unemployment, tick back up.
That's the big thing they've been harping on. Until unemployment starts going up, like they're not pivoting at all. And Tendies was talking to me about this today. Those rumors just going around about the Fed easing up, but like that, it's just it's just rumors. It's not coming from the Fed. Like people are saying it's BlackRock. So you see the markets doing a short-term pump, but it's just like, who knows if that's just more market manipulation with these rumors starting to go around. And then we'll get it at the next Fed meeting I'd be very surprised if their stance even lines up in the least.
So what you guys are probably more in tune with this than us Aussies over here, but you guys, you've chewed through all your oil reserves. You're leading up to.
That's another good point.
You're leading up to your midterms. So they're obviously trying to suppress the.
They're trying.
They're trying to suppress the price of that at the pump so that there's appeases everyone. The lid's going to blow off that soon.
Yeah.
And diesel fuel, which I'm reading, there's like a massive shortage now. Some reports say like less than a month supply of that.
And you're saying the bottom's in, sir?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's not.
No, I'm talking to Jexxa.
Yeah. Well, just as I was saying that, I was going,
this doesn't look good. Yeah.
But that's going to soar inflation as well, though. So that's where you're in that funny situation where inflation's going to go through the roof, that's generally been good for crypto, but then they're going to have to do something about that inflation. So
that's why I don't think they're going to lie. I don't think they're going to line up at all. I think they realize exactly where they're at. Like you said, it's huge right now because we've gone through all our oil reserves just trying to make it to this point, to the midterms, and after that, like, you get slapped with reality. You're just like, oh shit. Panic sets out.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for this rally other than just like pure hope. And it's like, oh, Fed's gonna pivot. Well, if they don't pivot on, what is it, Wednesday? Is that the 2nd? Then, man, it could get nasty in a hurry. And I'm not, talking about HEX in particular. I'm talking about, the markets, which
all markets
usually seep down into Bitcoin, crypto, and then, it's just another round. And could we then take out the lows? I don't know if it's that soon, but like I showed that S&P chart, we're kind of like right in the middle of that channel now. And we've also had, which is good, I think, just terrible earnings reports from Amazon, Google, Meta. So at least that's like always the final thing to come down. So finally we're seeing these earnings get hit. Now Apple's pretty much immune to everything. Because they have their own ecosystem, and that's that.
Yeah, I think they've been hit as well, though, haven't they? I think can you bring up the Meta chart? That's from what I heard. That's astonishing. I think that's gone from something like $3,000 down to $100 or something.
It went
they
380
amount of money
down to
like a 10x loss,
under 100 here. And I may or may not have bought some in after hours yesterday. So.
That looks like a shit coin, doesn't it?
You've been rugged.
Yeah.
Fucking Cabana going over there, DJ. I bought some. I mean, if you're gonna buy some, that's a good.
Thank you. Delayed gratification. I am not anticipating on flipping this. And if it goes lower, I'm going to get more. Just because you're getting pretty much WhatsApp, Instagram, like the rest of the business for free. If this metaverse thing turns out to be something in 3 to 5 years, then you're going to do really well. If not, then what? You're kind of paying for the business. And if we turn around, in the economy, maybe this kind of holds here or ends up being a little greater. But to me, the downside, you got like 20%, something like that. Upside, who knows, especially if he does figure out this thing. What do
they own? They own, is it WhatsApp
and Instagram.
Yeah.
So one of the things,
look at Cabana and lining himself up for a 2x in stocks.
Diversification. This is why I still work, to put money in all of these things. And I think I did mention 2 weeks ago or last week, I have also bought some HEX. So there you go. But anyway, what was I? Where was I going with that? Oh, so
sorry.
I've seen a couple people in I hold in decent regard compare this to Amazon in early 2000s when Bezos was just throwing money at infrastructure, warehousing, tech, all that stuff, and he would not budge. And it's exactly like Zuckerberg is doing right now. And he announced that, I think it was, they reported a quarter, just like Meta did, and he did not budge, and the stock tanked like you see here. And pretty much within a week or two, maybe it was that week, that was the bottom. And he plowed forward with his vision, and it ended up working out great for Amazon. I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen here with Meta at all, but I think the reward scenario is way greater than the risk right now.
I just don't know what we get out of the metaverse that we don't already have.
Yeah.
I think it's just making it more accessible, and instead of like wearing like a whole headset, like you'll be wearing like glasses maybe that
like
are
Google glasses when we had them like a decade ago, like
right.
And
but I mean,
you're a gamer, aren't you, Motley?
No.
Yeah. So I'm not a gamer at all. I've never really been into that, so I don't see the whole fascination. But Yeah, they've
Kool-Aid
made a
would
big
be
play.
a fun one to talk about this. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure he's yelling at us right now across the screen. You know nothing about the metaverse.
One last note on the metaverse. Losing $1 billion isn't cool. You know what's cool? Losing $1 trillion. So there you go. Name that movie. Anyway. Nobody? Nobody?
No, I don't know.
Justin Timberlake was in The Social Network.
Mm.
I forget the guy that played Zuckerberg, though. Anyway. What else is on the list? Do we have anything? We've done the Fed. We've done overall markets. We have one more thing left. This comes courtesy of Dipcatcher. So I thought this is a fun topic of discussion since we haven't visited this one.
Has he given a rough timeline if he thinks when he's going to get Poly done? I haven't been following it too closely.
He's in my Twitter stream, but I had not seen the actual time. Somebody throw it in the chat if you have a more detailed version of that.
I know he was still working on the code last night, but I didn't know if he had a rough idea.
Yeah, I think
I've never seen dev had to dev so hard. They've got a deadline, hard deadline, so they've all got to. Alex has got to get his front end out.
Yeah, they're both grinding right now.
Yeah, we've got and HEX model now, so everyone's working hard to meet that deadline.
Yeah,
awesome community.
So yeah, I just wanted to highlight this Dipcatcher tweet because this is, in my opinion, fun to talk about, especially before whenever it may be PulseChain launch. But he had just gone back to the DAI amount, so well over $250 million, 278 million of DAI in the PulseX SAC wallet. What do you think happens with it, Motley Investor?
Maybe some
There's
liquidity
some decent theories in the
for a new
comments.
chain. I don't know.
What's that?
Maybe he uses it for liquidity on PulseX. We'll see.
I think that was a popular comment, and that's kind of where I lean.
Turns out when you start a whole new layer one and you have this copying of the system state and largest airdrop, you might want to provide get some good liquidity for that new chain.
I like that one. That's kind of where I lean. Jexxa, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Well, I think we've got on the main pairs that we're all interested in. There's the chance for plenty of liquidity, but it's bringing in the stable coins, which I think we've seen took a while on the two other forks. I think they've got stables there now, but that's obviously a big stabilizing force when you can bring in the stables and people can start to peg things a little bit more. It's not so much the Wild West over there. Seems like a good way to use it without potentially having to
outrage marketing from Trayvon. Although I do, since you mentioned stables, I want to take this time to yell at Franklin St. Hex. Freaking dude used to work at Circle, had like contacts to set up a meeting between Richard and them to get USDC on PulseChain, and he quit that job, evidently burned the bridge because it didn't leave on the best terms. I was messaging him. It was like, bro, it'd be awesome if you could reach out to Circle and get that set up with Richard and them. He's like, yeah, I kind of burned my bridge. My boss hates me, but I'm trying to reach out to someone else. And I think last time I checked to him, they never got back to him. I'm like, bro, you know how huge that would have been for PulseChain right from the gate, but live and you learn, I guess.
Did they end up coming over on the new forks?
On POW and Ethereum Fair? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, that would be
I traded a shit ton of USDC and I got a couple dollars. So if you want an idea of what's going to happen to stables that aren't supported, the value is going to go very quickly. It's going to be a run on the bank.
I was pretty lucky. The one I was holding was a different stable, but I managed to make bank on that. I brought a whole bunch of HEX just before the HEX pumped on it.
Turns out HEX was much more valuable to hold for the fork. Again, some more insight for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a nice trial run for the community for sure.
Yeah, and that was what I keep saying. Don't expect what played out there to play out the same on PulseChain either, because the community is a lot more in tune. And there was a lot of hesitation for people to go over on the other proof of work fork because there was all this FUD about replay attacks, and people just didn't want to. They wanted to hold back and see what was going to happen. So there was a few opportunities there that if you were over there early, you managed to take advantage of. But I think with PulseChain, totally different story. There's going to be a whole bunch of people that just flood in there because they know the chain's going to be operational and they don't have to worry about these replay attacks and things. So I think some of the opportunities that did exist probably won't, and people have had a lot of time to practice their strategies now on those forks. So.
Move smartly and with purpose. Don't just go in there and just start aping in like like an animal. Like you'll be okay.
Please, yeah. So that was one of the other things I said. For me, when I went onto the proof of work fork, it was like a smash and grab. So I was just trying to get value wherever I could, and I wasn't really thinking. It was just push buttons there, take what you can. Whereas it'll be moving with a lot more purpose and treating those assets with a lot more value.
You could the way I like compare like POW and Ethereum Fair is just like it was almost like a test net. It was just like a free roll for a lot of us. So just like, all right, thanks. So it's people don't care as much, but when it's like something they put millions of dollars into, they care a little bit more. There'll be a little bit more.
One thing I will say though is the way we treated these forks, expect other communities to treat PulseChain like that. Like if they get all their free tokens and things like that, and they don't have a vested interest in the health of the chain, they'll just come over and dump their shit as well. And so expect a bit of that to reciprocate on
this. This is where that address could do some cool stuff with liquidity though. So like that's what like proof of work and everything didn't have. You don't have like this PulseX, this incentive token, this like potentially like massive lucrative LP farming this layer one's going to have when it launches. Like proof of work, Ethereum didn't have any of that kind of stuff. So like if they want to get creative with like some of these big communities, like maybe we want to target the SHIB community, maybe we want to target some of these communities that don't have admin keys, they'll function just like HEX functions on the forks. Like there might be some plays there to add some more liquidity, more just make it more lucrative for them to pair their assets and then earn incentive token and earn that high crazy APY early on in the chain. So we'll see.
Whichever way it goes down, it's going to be fun.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be real fun. Nice
Popcorn ready, no doubt. Just a couple of comments in that, aside from Trayvon's outrage marketing.
It's my favorite.
KG, most people don't know that the PulseX sacrifice address is the #1 holder of DAI that isn't a smart contract.
So run that by me again. That isn't a smart contract.
Yeah. And Dipcatcher says that.
I feel like there's some exchanges that probably hold more DAI.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Johnny Chaos, this is the one I'm looking for. Bridged in value to pair with Pulse. Everything else would be a ratio to Pulse. That is my opinion. So he has long held that view. So there we go with that. What else is on the docket? Anything else? Oh, Fumble Fridays housekeeping. So Randy Hilarski and Paul Sachs.
Someone win?
Motley? Nobody won.
Nobody won again.
Nobody won again. This is the worst.
You might as well just scrap this shit.
The worst football pool I think I've ever seen.
It's pretty impressive.
Or knockout pool. Yeah, it is actually. It's impressive now. I'm rooting for everybody to lose. So you have Paul 3 weeks in a row. They've both gotten them wrong. So at least Randy has made his pick for this week. Paul, I saw you in chat earlier. Make your pick before Sunday. And then the second chance pool, myself, Freddie Quotes, and Be Kind are the last 3 left as Stake Wealth got knocked out with Tampa last week. So that is that there. What else we got? Oh, where was it? Hexiron, thank you. Jesse Eisenberg was the actor's name that played Zuckerberg in The Social Network. Let's see what else. I think we're just tidying up here. Last couple reminders: KSB.TV for information on the HEX cruise, and I think this is the last week, or next week is the last week to vote for the Hexy Award nominations. So go ahead in there and find your favorite Hexagon personality and shout them out and all that good stuff. So they have info on whenever Pulse launches the 2023 Million Pulse Tour and the NFT collection, and then a calendar of events here coming up. So they have like the yacht party, the Hex birthday party, all on the West Coast this year. East Coast people, let's get some stuff together. Come on. I know that y'all
You
are
guys
out here.
are pretty organized over there, aren't you?
The West Coast side, yeah. Well, this is all I attribute all this to Black Hexagon because she's probably the most
Aussies
organized.
just show up to a bar and drink.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my kind of hangout. I'm cool with that.
That's the best we can
What bar we
organize.
mean
But yeah, your Hexy Award nominations are there. Click that box and go to vote. Last but certainly not least, we have let's recap this UFC event, Motley. So we had 3, I guess, main event fights. I'm wishing these fights would be 5 rounds now. Like these top things, because like you have
sometimes they do. Sometimes it depends.
Well, I'm talking like top 3 because Sugar, Shane, and Petter, Jan. That should have been a 5-rounder because we were, just texting briefly, and I was not satisfied with that result. I say I was 3 for 3, even though the bookie would not say so. But yeah, I thought Jan won that fight.
It's tough. Like MMA, and Joe Rogan talks about this, is like the scoring system is much more set up for boxing. It's not really catered to the more dynamic sport of MMA. But it's tough because I would say Jan maybe got the first 2 because he's just so much more controlling with the takedowns and wrestling. But you have to look at the damage that he did. If he didn't do enough damage there, it's just control. If he didn't threaten with submissions or do enough damage, and he landed some really powerful counter shots. But when Sugar Shah was up on his feet, he was doing what I was saying, was just he was keeping him at distance with jab, and just he was outstriking him. But Jan was doing some good counter strikes as well. But I would have probably given a slight edge to Jan, but I could also see where it was close enough where the judges could have it go either way. When they said split decision, I was like, ooh, this is a good chance. I was like, there's a chance this goes to Sean, and they give it to Sean.
Yeah. And Sterling won. Dillashaw shouldn't have even showed up.
Evidently his shoulder was jacked.
Yeah, that sucked for, he took somebody's spot, and he acknowledged that too. And Islam main event got it done.
Crushed. Just
fucking
laid the hammer on him, and then just was able to put him to sleep shortly after.
Did you watch it, Jexxa?
No, I've got to admit, since I've had a couple of daughters, the UFC has been a bit light in my house.
That might have something to do with it. I know 43 was all about it. He was, looking to watch it with some people. So
make my girls watch UFC. Sorry.
That's right. All right. So last thing for this week, I just wanted to do like a community shout out type of thing. So this one I'm just going to call Stream of the Week, and this is pretty much just a shout out to anybody in the community who you got a lot of value from their stream. You thought it was entertaining, you thought it was a good chat, and I'm hoping if you haven't consumed Motley or Jexxa, any other content this past week, at least in the past couple of weeks, but is there a stream? I'll start with you, Motley, that be like, hey, Hexagons should really watch this one. This is a good conversation. There's a lot of alpha in here. Anything like that?
In the past week?
Yeah, if you can. If not, go a little further out.
I don't think I've been watching too much Hex content lately, because outside of the Hedron Icosa system, there's not too much going on that I'm vested in, that I'm interested in. So I would say for like that content, just to get ready for the HSI auctions, because I think that is the next big thing in our ecosystem. You could go follow Crypto Sloth, Cryptographics. I think Richard Hart, Maxi, RH Maxi has good stuff on it as well. And then who's the newest guy? It's like
that Max, or
is it Max? It's I can't remember. It's like he's in a dark room. He started streaming recently. Yeah,
Maxim.
Yeah, Maxim. Yeah, so shout out to him. He does a lot of that content as well. But outside that, there's nothing too new that I've been watching. So mainly just hurry up and wait for PulseChain, and then get ready for these HSI auctions and figure out how I want to approach that. I tune into those guys for that information if you want.
Yeah. David James has a good one here.
Access too.
Access and RH Max had a good. I'm just talking about one show in particular. They went on right as we went off last week. I flipped over to that one. That was really good. Just Access doing Access things, talking charts and price and stuff. So I like that kind of stuff. That was a good one. So yeah, thanks, David James. Put yours in the chat too. Jexxa, as we close here, do you have a stream this past week that you thought was good?
Yeah, likewise. I've probably haven't consumed too much of the community content. I've been paying a little bit of attention to more of what was going on with the BitBoy sagas and things like that, just trying to keep in tune with that. But yeah, Maxim, he's very calm and collected in the way he delivers things, and he's been around, seems like he's been around since the very beginning, so he's got some good insights, and I love his lighting. I don't know how he does his lighting. It's pretty cool.
Coming from a cave.
I feel like I'm in a cigar lounge.
I tried to replicate it, and it just looked horrible. So I don't know how he's doing it. Cool.
So go with the StreamYard blur feature.
That's the best I could come up with this morning. The other Ivan on Tech one was actually that was a really relaxed one in terms of the way Richard was delivering his content. He seemed to let his guard down a little bit more, and I don't know whether he was intending on talking much about the switch to ETH 2.0, but he let it all drop on that stream, and he seemed to be just a little bit more chill on that one. So there was a lot of content in that one.
That stream was interesting. That's probably, if you want to get up to date where we're at with PulseChain, that like we finally got real updates in that for the first time. So that is a good stream to go for that information. But he just seemed it was weird. I don't know if he was just burnt out, tired, if he's bored with the current state of things, because he just seemed very disinterested in that stream. Like, Ivan, that's the one good thing. And one of the reasons why I tuned into that stream is because I knew Ivan would ask the right questions, or at least all the stuff we're interested in. Whereas you might not get that with an average streamer. And he was asking good questions, but man, Richard just did not seem interested. Like he was barely listening to his questions. He was just like doing, the standard, like, look at my Soru, look at my chain. I'm like, answer the good questions that he's asking you, bro. Like did not seem interested.
Yeah. So, do you think it's a time zone thing where he's doing these at a really odd hour or something?
Possibly. He's been doing a lot of traveling, so who knows where he is. So could just been tired.
I think he's been doing like afternoon ones though, which would be still evening, like afternoon here in the States, which would be evening over there
in Europe.
I don't think it'd be too late.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah, I actually noticed that he does look like he's getting pretty tired on a lot of the recent things he's been on. So either he's I put it down to maybe they're odd hours when he's doing them, but he might just be getting a little bit.
Well, he was hungover the other morning.
Yeah.
Not following Sci-Vibe.
Yeah.
Richard Hart's Instagram, if you wanted to see that. I don't think it's up anymore, but that was his
I caught
story.
that one.
So there was a lady involved, because that's the only reason that he drinks. So whatever strategy benefits him, he knows rules. Motley, you're getting a lot of votes with the Forbes guy. So
thanks, Sandy.
A lot more than Sandy, but yes, thank you for all the shout outs. Much appreciated. I'm gonna say that on behalf of Motley, but I know he appreciates it because he did a lot of the talking in that. The one I wanted to shout out, which I watched like the whole conversation. I just thought it was like a fun, just chill conversation. It's titled RG3 Tells All About the Highest Stakes, but it was just a really good conversation with Trevor and RG3 and DCC, and it was just like literally like just three dudes talking about HEX, highest of stakes, regulation, life stuff. I think it was like last Saturday. So I really enjoyed that. It was just a cool chat to listen to. So it's got my vote there.
The new studio looks awesome too.
Oh,
I think they're using the studio that that guy that Richard interviewed
Rolo?
not too long ago. Not Rolo, like Rolo and DC. I think are like
Oh,
going
the
in
other
together.
Vegas guy.
But yeah, the former, I think he was Air Force military guy, but
I know who you're talking about.
Probably did some of the most research in depth on Richard that I've seen prior to doing an interview with him. But I went through his channel and subscribed, and it looks like that's his podcast studio, and it looks like DC and Rolo are out there teaming up, so that's cool. It's a very nice set.
Dollar Costa's doing some really good stuff. He's made some really great connections and bringing a lot of awareness with the things he's doing, and set up some really good interviews for Richard by the sound of it as well. So,
yeah, that was good.
He's pushing it pretty hard.
Mr. Profit 74, brother, I feel for you, man, because I am a pet owner, and that's the worst, man. So I'm sorry. And you have a great community here. You know, if you want to reach out to people, there's so many Hexagon pet owners here, man. So that sucks. I feel for you. What else do we have? I think that about wraps us up. Any other topics that you want to talk about, Jexxa? That weren't in that list. I had a
we covered a bit of ground there. Considering I came in late, we still managed to cover a bit of ground.
Oh yeah. Well, we didn't cover a lot because the Topcats went longer than expected, which was great because they told us a lot of good stuff. So
I don't really have anything. Like I say, we're sort of in waiting mode at the moment. Everyone's I'd like to say patiently waiting, but it appears we're not.
There's not much patience out there. Some of us are, others not so much.
The price bump that we had was I think just a welcome relief, because it kind of just stirred people up, and
just a reminder.
You got that energy and vibe from social media. If it's only just a couple days, what if it's over right now and then we go back to 3 cents or whatever? Yeah, so be it. But that gives you such a small taste of what can come in a bull market. And one of the coolest tweets I saw was somebody posted like, that was my first real HEX pump since I've been in, and I was like, that's cool, because a lot of us have ridden the ride and been on this for a while, but the new people who are getting in, especially now, if you're getting in at these low prices, man, you have I think a very fun ride.
I think people get complacent in bear markets, and it's not just HEX that does this. It happens with Bitcoin as well. Everyone just, it's boring, it's going sideways, and then before you know it, before you realize it just rockets. Which is fine for assets that have been around a couple of cycles. So HEX going through this first cycle, and you get people that they turn into doubters because they think, oh no, this is the end of it. So this is a good taste to go, when this market switches, hold on, because these things rocket, and HEX will rocket at twice the pace. If you looked at the charts, because everything else did get a little pump the other day, Bitcoin pump, ETH pump, but I think the magnitude, I think ETH might have done like a 20%, and we done a 40% or something like that. So when we go, it's like we go with leverage.
Yep. It'll wear you down too, because we'll see maybe it drops back down, and like the problem is, like, you see these 50% moves and you psych yourself out. It's like, oh well, I'll wait for it to come back down, and eventually one of those times it just doesn't come back down, and then you're like, well, I'll just wait till this point, and it just continues around. You're like, well, I'll wait till this one. Next thing you're looking at a 2, 3, 4x from where you could have bought, and you're just like, it really will emotionally mess with your mind. So just again, that's why having your entry point now is good. Having more dry powder if we go lower is great. When this trend does reverse, be prepared to DCA into it as well. So it's just being prepared on wherever the markets give you. I think right where we're at now it's a great entry. It's been a great entry.
Yeah. So who cares if you get in at 4 cents or 3 cents? If we could be could be, not saying we will be, but could be dollars someday. Is it
What
going
was
to
the
matter
quote?
if you
10.
waited until you got that extra penny? Yeah, I know from here it's like, you know,
$10 doesn't matter on the way to 100. That was the quote, wasn't it?
One of them, yeah. So there you go. But yeah, that's about all there. Did want to shout out, I believe Ladies Discourse is tonight in about 45 minutes, and I think they're going to have Charlotte from Topcats on.
Oh, cool.
Their stream. So 45 minutes from now, Discourse Syndicate, Ladies Discourse. I think we have I saw one tweet. I think we have a bunch of familiar female Hexkins on that show, so be sure to check that out and say hello to them in the chat, especially in a non-creepy way. Like some people tend to act in the crypto world.
Don't simp too hard, guys. Kurkowski.
Act like you've been there before. Wait.
At least once.
That's about all for this week. Like I said, next week, Thursday, I believe, is going to be our show. So Motley Investor never knows what day it is, so I'll just message him the day before.
Pretty much.
And yeah, we'll get that thing going. Hopefully, we'll have the rest of the panel back. And yeah, after that, we have on 11/11, we got Cryptographics, Crypto Sloth for the Mega Hedron show, which will forever be named. And yeah, that's our housekeeping for the show. I wanted to thank Motley and Jexxa for coming on here, and Kinetics before, and the Topcats guys for coming on. That was awesome. Before we go, Motley Investor, where can we find you?
Right there.
Thank you. For the people who only listened on audio, where can we find you?
What?
That don't watch the video, that just listen to the YouTube audio.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Motley Investor everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to go.
See,
I'm
there
there.
you go. I'm trying to, broaden your, reach there.
Don't
forget about the people who are watching.
I thought you might have had a new podcast or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, are we on Apple Podcasts? Or I was like, are we on Spotify?
Am I the only one with
are you
like
branching
YouTube
out,
Premium,
sir?
so where you don't have to watch the video, you just play the audio?
I forgot.
You can tell you made it in HEX if you've got YouTube Premium.
Oh,
dude, I love YouTube Premium. I forgot what commercials are.
There's so much, like, you don't have to keep your screen on, and
Yeah.
it's just
Money well spent,
Yeah.
even in a bear market.
yes, and it's research, so there you go.
Yeah, makes me money in the long run.
I don't think I muttered anybody. I think that was Motley Investor. But anyway, Jexxa, where can we find what?
I was gonna not mutter it, but I'll be nice.
Jexxa, where can we find you?
On Twitter, it's usually some form of Jexxa_J or J_Jexxa. Just put Jexxa in. There's not too many of us kicking around. You'll find me.
Yeah, leave it open for the scammers. Jexxa something, guys.
Yeah,
that's
He won't ask for your seed words.
Scammers watching this channel will,
Jexxa anything.
Jexxa accounts.
Okay, I think I do know the Twitter, and I think it's J_Jexxa. So there you go.
Gary brings up a good point in this stuff. Like if you do have like these different screen names and stuff like we do, if you can secure the same across all the social media platforms, very advantageous. I was lucky enough to do that.
Yes, get that handle everywhere. It sucks kind of for Richard because he's got like Richard Hart Official, Richard Hart Win,
yeah,
and like just regular Richard Hart, and he's like, look me up on YouTube at Richard Hart. Just search for him. Obviously, anybody can search nowadays, but it is what it is. Pulse Kittens, only thing better than Premium is not watching YouTube. Well, it says you're watching us on YouTube. What's going on? Yes, Premium is a must. Hexiest man in the world. Absolutely. I agree. Just worth the investment. Saves time, and plus, once you get accustomed to 1.5x, some of y'all are crazy and do 2x. I don't know how you do it, but props to you guys.
Depends who's speaking. Some people you can listen at 2x, other people no way.
I cannot do dollar cost at all. But,
there's some that are just too fast.
Yeah, Australians I can speed up to about 1.75.
Really?
No offense, Jexxa.
I thought it would be worse.
Get Kareem on, and you're like, all right,
no.
0.75.
All right, gents. Thanks again to all you guys in Kinetics and Topcats who were on before, and we'll see you next Thursday, 5 p.m. Of course, we'll alert you on the socials. Thank you, everyone in chat, for all of your comments, and we are going to sign off for this week.